What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to your video. Today, I'm doing my 2025 NASCAR Cup Series playoff predictions. I'm going to go through all 16 drivers who I think will make the playoffs in 2025, and then talk about drivers who I think will miss the NASCAR Cup playoffs in 2025. So anyways, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. The first driver I think will make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2025 is Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson was the fastest driver in the 2024 season, scoring 6 wins, which is the most of any drivers in the 2024 campaign. Led the most laps, nearly led 2,000 laps in the 2024 season. I expect that to continue in 2025, and I do think, just like 2024, Kyle Larson most likely will win the most races. I think he's going to be really strong throughout the year, and I think Kyle Larson will be good enough, and I think he'll have a great chance and opportunity. I think he easily will make the playoffs for sure. In 2025, expect Larson to get it done. The second driver who I think will make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2025 is Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott is coming off having a one-win season in 2024, but near the end of the season, Chase Elliott was really starting to shine. In the last 3 or 4 NASCAR Cup Series points paying races, he led over 200 laps combined in those 4 races. And in the last 3 races especially, Chase Elliott looked like a winning contender in the final 3 races, dominated Homestead, and looked really good at Martinsville as well. I think Chase Elliott is going to be back, and I think he's going to be stronger than ever in 2025, where I think Chase Elliott will have his first multi-win season most likely than since 2022. I think he's going to get multiple victories, and I think he easily will make the playoffs for sure in 2025. The third driver who I think will make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2025 is Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell is coming off having a career season in many statistical categories. Scored 3 victories in 2024, led 1,000 laps for the first time in a season, and did get to the round of 8 and probably should have made the championship 4. He was one of the few fastest cars throughout the whole entire year consistently, been the best Joe Gibbs racing driver over the course of the last couple of years, and I expect Christopher Bell will probably make the championship 4 once again this year for the 3rd time in his Cup Series career. I think Bell is going to have a car capable of getting it done. We know he's good at the shorter ovals especially as well. This is a no-brainer. I think Christopher Bell will easily make it to the playoffs in 2025. The fourth driver who I think will make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2025 is Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney's coming off of having a really strong season in 2024, scoring 3 victories and making it to the championship 4. And I think he's going to be really strong once again in 2025. Ryan Blaney has been the fastest forward over the course of the last couple of seasons, and Ryan Blaney's looked really strong in the shorter ovals, and I think Blaney's also been really good at the 1.5 miles in the bigger ovals as well over the course of the last couple of years. So I think he's easily going to make the playoffs. I think he's going to win a few races. He's going to be the fastest Team Penske driver all season long, like he always has been. I think he easily will for sure make the playoffs in 2025. The fifth driver who I have making the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2025 is Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick is coming off having a career year in 2024 where he scored 3 victories and made it to the championship 4, getting wins at Homestead, Talladega, and of course at the other tracks earlier in the year, at like Michigan. And Tyler Reddick and his 45 team were one of the fastest teams consistently throughout the 2024 campaign. And I think that's only going to continue in 2025. He may not win as many races, but I think the consistency is really going to be there. I think 23-11, even with the lawsuit going off Michael Jordan, everybody involved in that, I still think he's going to make the playoffs extremely easily, and I think Tyler Reddick will for sure once again make the playoffs for like the 3rd or 4th year in a row. I think he ends up making it to the playoffs for sure in 2025 once again. The 6th driver who have making the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2025 is William Byron. William Byron always has this kind of meta thing he does. He's always very strong in the early portion of the year, kind of cools off in the summer outside of 2023, and then is really strong near the end of the year. I expect that to continue in 2025, but I also think there's a really good chance he might be a little more consistent. William Byron did make the championship 4, and I think he's got a good chance to make the championship 4 once again in 2025. And just like the prior years, I think William Byron will be able to score most likely a few victories throughout 2025, so he can for sure be able to make it in on points as well. Nonetheless, I think he easily makes the playoffs in 2025, being a Hendrick car, and I think he'll be very, very strong and really, really great throughout the 2025 season. I think he for sure makes the playoffs. The 7th driver I think will make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2025 is Denny Hamlin. Now, Denny Hamlin have a little bit lower than other years because Denny Hamlin is going to have a new crew chief for the first time since 2019, as Chris Gabehart will move to a competition director of Joe Gibbs Racing. He'll have Chris Gale for 2025. Now, I think just based off of Denny Hamlin's talent alone, I think he will still win a few races to probably end up making it, but I think Denny Hamlin is going to have a little bit of an off year on the consistency side of things. I think we're going to start seeing Denny Hamlin fall off a little bit starting in 2025, considering also by the end of the 2025 season, Denny Hamlin will be 45 years of age. And by this point, most drivers who gets around that 44 to 45 year age span, they start to fall off. But I do think Denny Hamlin will be able to easily, for sure, make the playoffs in 2025. The 8th driver we'll have making the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2025 is Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski had his best Cup Series season since 2021 and 2024. Yes, he got eliminated in the round of 16, but led a ton of laps, led nearly 600 laps throughout 2024, and he got his first win in 3 years. And I think that Brad might even be stronger in 2025, considering he's going to have Jeremy Bullins as a crew chief. Those two worked together so well, they gelled together perfectly, and showed a lot of great performance, and were very consistent throughout the whole entire season. I think you're going to see this duo work very, very well throughout 2025, and I think Brad will at least get one win for sure, and I could see Brad going all the way to the round of 8 for sure in 2025. The 9th driver we'll have making the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2025 is Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain did pick up a win at Kansas near the end of the season in 2024, but unfortunately for Ross, he missed the playoffs because so many drivers below him in the standings ended up making it off of winning. He also was unfortunately a little bit more inconsistent in 2024, but I think he's going to get back to where he was in 2023 and also in 2022. I think he's going to get potentially a couple victories, and I think the one team should have made the playoffs this year with the speed they showed at times. There was just a lot of that inconsistency, but I think he will make the playoffs for the first time since 2023. I think he gets back in there, and I think the one team will be quick and fast enough to get it done. I think he will for sure make the playoffs in 2025. The 10th driver I have making the NASCAR Cup playoffs in 2025 is Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher, in my opinion, probably should have made the playoffs this year. He was one of the most consistent drivers in the field, had one of the 5 or 6 best average finishes by the end of the season. And Chris Buescher also got a win at Watkins Glen in a thrilling and great photo finish. Not photo finish, but a great finish at Watkins Glen. And there were a few other opportunities where he probably should have been able to get it in, like that photo finish at Kansas, and also the other race like Darlington where he kind of got robbed of getting it done. I think Chris Buescher, though, is going to be fast enough to get it done. I think that the 17 team, they're looking stronger. They're not going to have to worry about sponsorship with Kroger coming into play for the 2025 campaign. I think it's going to be a strong year for Buescher, and I think he easily will be able to, for sure, make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2025. Get back in the playoffs for only the third time, in his NASCAR Cup career. The 11th driver I have making the NASCAR Cup playoffs in 2025 is Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs had a solid start to the year in 2024, but faded as the year progressed and went on, and unfortunately failed to pick up a victory in 2024. But I do think that Ty Gibbs will be able to make the playoffs. I think he's going to turn it around, and depending on which crew chief he gets for 2025, I think he will improve. Usually drivers by race number 100 is when they usually end up picking up a win. I think at some point in 2025, Ty Gibbs will be able to pick up a victory. I'm looking at Pocono. That's a track historically that Ty Gibbs has ran very solid and really strong at. So I think easily for sure the number 54 team will have the pace and the speed, and I think he will make the playoffs in 2025 with Joe Gibbs Racing once again. The 12th driver I have making the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2025 is Chase Brisco. Chase Brisco is joining Joe Gibbs Racing in 2025, taking over from Mark Truex Jr., who has retired. Now, I think Chase Brisco is actually going to be a contender for this championship in 2025. Some question him going over there. Some don't think he has a lot of talent. But I think Chase Brisco has not been really given the best and fair shake up to this point until now. I think Brisco is going to be able to get it done. I think he will win a couple races. Yes, I am worried about James Small being over there, working with him in 2025. But at the end of the day, I think they're going to bring the pace and speed. I think Brisco will get a couple wins by the end of the year. I think he easily makes it because I think that 19 car will be fast enough to get it done in 2025. The 13th driver who I have making the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2025 is Shane Van Gisbergen. This one is going to be a little bit bold considering Shane Van Gisbergen will be a rookie in the Cup Series full-time next year. However, I think it's going to be based off of winning a couple road course races, especially when you're in being in a thing, and with him being probably one of the 2 or 3 best road course racers in the field at this point, I think he's going to win a road course race or 2 to get himself in. I think in the early portion of the season, he'll struggle on the ovals, but if you win a race, it doesn't matter. And I think he's going to be top 20 in points by the end of the year on regular season side, but I think because of the road courses, he will be able to make the playoffs. And I think that he will get better on ovals as the year progresses and goes on. So I think Shane Van Gisbergen, regardless of how you feel about him being in Cup next year, I think he easily will be able to pick up a win and victory and get in the playoffs in 2025. The 14th driver who I have making the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2025 is Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman, every single year, we're always talking about him potentially losing his seat and losing his ride because everyone kind of talks about that. But Alex Bowman is one of the most consistent drivers in the field. I think Bowman being lower on the list is just because I think the win is going to come later in the season. I think Bowman is easily going to make the playoffs because I think that momentum he had in 2024 is going to carry in 2025. But I also think you're going to have a lot of guys that are going to go to victory lane in the 2024-5 season. So I think that could hurt Bowman's chances on that side. But I think he's going to be super, super consistent. I think he's going to lead more laps as well. And I think he easily will make the playoffs in the 2025 NASCAR Cup season. I think he for sure gets it done. The 15th driver who I have making the NASCAR Cup playoffs in 2025 is Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace is going to be a little bit controversial for some people getting in, but I think he will get back to the playoffs for the first time since 2023. He is going to have a new crew chief this upcoming season with Charles Denny coming in. And Charles Denny worked extremely well with Christian Eckes in the Craftsman Truck Series over the course of the last couple of years. I think that Charles and Bubba working together, I think it's going to lead to a lot of success for this program in 2025. So I think for sure Bubba Wallace gets in, and I think he's going to win. And I think in the other categories as well, I think Bubba Wallace will be able to get it done. I think he ends up making the playoffs. I think they have the pace and speed. I think he's going to be a little closer to Tyler Reddick by the end of the year on consistency as well. And I think Bubba Wallace will 1,000% be able to make the playoffs because I think the 23 team will be quick enough to get it done. And the 16th and final driver who I have making the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2025 is Kyle Busch. This is going to be bold considering how bad of a season Kyle Busch really had in 2024. But I think he's going to win a race to get in. And I think he's going to have a better year in 2025 than he did in 2024. No, I think he's going to be the lowest seed getting in most likely because I think that there's a certain someone who will talk about who I did not getting in. But I believe Kyle Busch will get into the playoffs this upcoming season. Look, Kyle Busch is still a very talented driver. If you get the right people, right opportunities, and they've hired some big names to really help with this program for 2025, I think that he will get it done. I think he will get in the playoffs, most likely with the win. I think the A-team is going to be fast enough. I don't think that the crew chief's a problem. I don't think the driver's a problem. Even though Kyle Busch will be 40 at the end of 2025, I still think Kyle Busch will be fast enough, and I think he will 1,000% for sure get it done. I think he will be the 16th and final driver to get into the playoffs in 2025. So those are the guys going in. Let's talk about all the drivers who I have just missed in the playoffs in 2025. First, the most notable, Joey Logano. Every single year, there's always some bold driver who does not make the playoffs. You go back to 2022, Mark Truex Jr. missed in the playoffs. 2023, you had Alex Bowman miss the playoffs in 2023, mostly from his injury. Same with Chase Elliott as well. And then in 2024, you have Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, and Chris Buescher miss the playoffs. I think Logano, who usually does not run very, very well in odd years, I think he's unfortunately going to miss the playoffs this time around. I don't think he's going to have the speed. Usually in odd years, Logano ends up struggling, and I think this time around, Joe Logano is not going to have the pace and speed, and I think he will miss the playoffs for sure. Next, Carson Hocevar. I think Carson Hocevar is about 2 years away from probably making the playoffs. I think he will be fast, no denying that, and I think especially with the Spire upgrades that are going to be coming in, I think he will be an outside contender for the playoffs, but I think he just will miss it. I think he's going to be fast enough to get top 10s and some top 5s, but I think he misses it in 2025. Next, Ryan Preece. Very similar to Carson Hocevar. I think he will get outrun by his teammates very slightly, but I do think that Ryan Preece is going to have a career year, most likely in Cup. I think he will have a chance to finish in the top 20 in the standings. I just think that the 60 team being expanding, I think he will unfortunately end up missing the playoffs because of that. Next, Daniel Suarez. Daniel Suarez is in a contract year. And I think that Daniel Suarez absolutely is going to have to perform really good. I think he has to make the playoffs, and I don't think he's going to make the playoffs, sadly. I know he had a decent playoff run in 2024 and showed some good stuff at tracks like Atlanta and some of the road course races as well. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to be good all around if you're going to have a chance and opportunity to make it, and I don't think Suarez gets it done in 2025. Next, Michael McDowell. I think Michael McDowell is going to be very solid and is going to run really strong with this program. However, I think McDowell, kind of similar to Hocevar, Spire's about a year away from really taking that next big step. So I think McDowell, sadly, does not make it in 2025, though I do think he'll be pretty solid in that number 71 car. And that goes the same for his teammate Justin Haley. I think Justin Haley will not be quick enough to make it either. I think Rodney Childers and Justin are going to work together exceptionally well in 2025, but I don't think they're going to have the pace and speed to officially get in this upcoming year. Next, AJ Allmendinger. I think Allmendinger is going to be good at road courses. That's pretty much about it in all honesty. I think he'll show some speed on the ovals at times throughout the year, but I think Allmendinger is going to be relying on winning road courses, and I just don't know if AJ is going to have the capabilities of doing that in the Cup Series like he was in Xfinity. Next, Austin Cindric. Cindric, I think, will have speed on super speedways and probably on road courses and maybe even some of the bigger flat ovals. Outside of that, that's his only shot I think he can have getting in, because I really think Cindric is going to be running around that 20th to 25th in points most of the 2025 season. So I think Cindric won't have the pace and speed. I think he misses it in 2025. Next, you've got Riley Herbst. He's joining 23-11. I think he misses. I don't see Herbst getting in this upcoming season. I think Herbst is a talented driver who has shown a lot of improvement, but at the end of the day, it is a 23-11 car. There's a lot of good competition this upcoming year. I think he misses for sure in 2025. Then you've got Josh Berry. Josh Berry is going to do better than Harrison Burton, who, of course, Harrison Burton's replacing Hailie Deegan in the Xfinity Series. I don't think Josh Berry makes the playoffs. I think he will do solid. I think, like I said, he does better than Harrison Burton, but that's not really saying much at this point. So I think Berry, unfortunately, misses in 2025. Next, Noah Gragson. Gragson's going to front row. I think they're a couple years away from really being in a great position to make it. Gragson's going to be good on super speedways and other types of tracks, but I think he doesn't make it in 2025. Next, we've got Zane Smith. Zane's likely going to front row full time. Zane's going to have good speed for sure at times, but I think there's also a little bit of improvement that they're desperately going to need before they really take that next step. So I think he misses the playoffs. Next, you have Cole Custer. Join the Haas factory team. Unfortunately, I think Cole Custer is going to be in the lower half of the standings. I think he's going to get a couple top 10s by the end of this season, but at the end of the day, because you don't have a lot of that forward funding, though they're going to get help from RFK, I think it will struggle a little bit. Going back to front row, Todd Gillen. Todd Gillen, I think, is going to be solid in the 34 car, probably going to win a lot of poles, but I don't think Todd Gillen is going to have the speed to officially make the playoffs unless he wins a super speedway. Next, Ty Dillon. Don't really need to say much. I think Ty Dillon is going to struggle a lot in 2025 and be one of the worst drivers full-time in the standings. Let's go double this up with Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek. Legacy Motor Club had a bad year in 2024. I think they're going to improve slightly, but not so much. I think both end up missing the playoffs. I think both deserve to be a chance in contention, but I don't think that they're going to have a chance. And finally, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Stenhouse is going to that new Hayek team, the Hayek Motorsports organization, or staying there as JTG Doherty's rebranding. I think they're going to fall off a little bit, in all honesty, and unless Stenhouse wins a super speedway, I don't think he will make the playoffs in 2025 just because of that. So, that is my 2025 NASCAR Cup Series playoff predictions. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. List description below that, and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. What are your 2025 NASCAR Cup playoff predictions? Let me know them in the comments below. Later today on the channel, I'll be going through the top 10 free agents that remain on the market for 2025, and I'm also going to be doing some other content this weekend, including I will be releasing my first Cup Series predictions for the 2025 season. I also will have an updated look at the Daytona 500 Entries, most likely coming out this week, and we'll talk about people like Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, Haley Deegan, Conor Zilic, you name it, throughout the next couple weeks as well. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.